Shud Kal HaKadosh, everybody welcome. Shir Baracha Tzlacha Lekol Am Yisrael. Be'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach. And I say thank you for sponsoring the shiur, Yaakov Ben Osher. May Hashem give him refuah shlema, b'riyut, arbe nachad, v'gam sason v'simcha, joy and happiness. Gam we have a beautiful news. Kirill Daniel Ben Michoel got engaged. Marriage soon, Be'ezrat Hashem. Baracha Tzlacha Nisim Ben Shalom. Nisim Shalom Ben Bechor Baris, Shezivuk Agun Be'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach. You want to say quietly. וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן. לעילוי נשמת אלף הבדלות בין המתים לחיים, רום הרחמים בן נלה מזל רוח השם. תנחנו בגן עדן הוא וכל השוכבים עמו בכלל הרחמים והסליחות וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן. So, as we continue about the halachot of Pesach, usually we do the Pirkei Avot. Now we're doing the halachot of Pesach, and you could spread the Torah through others and halachot and what to do, because the Pesach Chal b'motzei Shabbat is going to enter through motzei Shabbat, and that's why we have to do the halachot of Pesach today, know what we have to really actually do through the halacha, through the law. And before we said also what kind of advice that when the motzei Shabbat enters the Pesach, what we're supposed to be do, when we're supposed to be, when we're allowed to eat the bread, when we're not allowed to eat the bread, when he's allowed to eat the matzah. הנהגה כפה יצא נזכרת יהיה לבטל 5 בשעה בערב בערב שבת, ואם לא ביטל 5 בערב שבת, יבטל ביום שבת בשעה בעירו. So the following, after we searching for chametz on Thursday night, we do a recap. After Thursday night, we check for the chametz. After we finishing the chametz, on Friday, on Thursday night, we have to do bitul, which means nullification. Then on Friday morning, we have to burn it. Then after the burning, instead of saying, a lot of people say it's a bracha. It's not a bracha. It's a bitul. Bitul, which means nullifying. Nullifying, a person has to know to say this nullification in his own language that he understands, whether he understands Hebrew, whether he understands English or Russian or any other languages. So make sure that he's going to do that on Friday morning if he's not going to eat no more bread. But because the Pesach is going to be a motzei Shabbat, he's allowed to eat bread, so he needs to do it at least in a Saturday in the morning before the Asur to eat the bread, which is around 11:30 in the morning. We have to also look at the calendar to check what's the timing for to say the bitul, which means nullification. סעודה שלישית זמנה אחר המנחה אי אפשר לעשות בחמץ. Once the סעודה שלישית comes in, which is on Saturday, סעודה שלישית, we have to eat it. So we have to do it after the mincha. So when is the time? In the mincha, we're going to daven mincha. And before the סעודה, first we're going to daven mincha, then we're going to do סעודה שלישית. We're not going to have an appetite for nighttime, because we're not going to have an appetite. So what should I do right now? So that's why we have to do a little bit mincha earlier, and like this we're able to do Suda Shlishit, and through that Suda Shlishit we're able to have an appetite at nighttime. The reason it's very important to do the Suda Shlishit. ואם ביטל 5 בערב יבטל. So it says over here, מפני כבר הגיע הזמן איסורה, ואי אפשר לעשות במצה רגילה. Suda Shlishit we're not able to do with the regular matzah, because we're not allowed to eat the matzah, we're gonna eat it on a Pesach. מפני אסור לאכול מצה בערב פסח. לפיכך, יש לעשות סעודה שלישית במצה עשירה. The best way to do the סעודה שלישית, the matzah is either egg matzah or wine matzah mixed, or fruit matzah, which is mixed with the juices. This is considered matzah עשירה, and the ברכה on it, ברוך אתה השם, בורא מיני מזונות. ויסודה קודם שעה עשירית. דהיינו 3 שעות קודם צאת הכוכבים. What's the best way to do the סעודה שלישית? 3 hours before the 3 stars come down. כדי שיאכול בלילה את המצה לתאבון. We're able to eat the matzah at night time with the appetite. לכתחילה יכול לאתר כביצה מצה עשירה יברך עליך בורא מיני מזונות. The best way to eat, if we're going to eat the egg matzah, if a person eating the egg matzah, is to make a bracha on it, ברוך אתה השם בורא מיני מזונות. So we at least have to eat minimum 54 grams of that matzah, which means matzah ashira. ולא יברך ברכת המזון. He should not do ברכת המזון וחמוצי. ספק ברכות להקל. which means that some say because of the matzah, not allowed to eat, and then bread is not allowed to eat. Some say it's a hamotzi. No, it's a bore mine mazonot. The best way to do it is matzah that is fried, or matzah is put inside the soup, was taken out. Make sure the water of soup absorb it. Of course, we have to prepare this everything before Shabbat, because we're not allowed to fry before Shabbat, and we could enter the refrigerator and like this, able, no problem. If we want to take it out of the refrigerator and put it on plata, also no problem. That matzah, that is either cooked matzah, or matzah was put it inside, was dipped inside the soup, and the matzah was observed the soup. This type of matzah is not going to be fulfilled the mitzvah of the Leila Seder. Because it looks like a bread now, we need to make on this baracha hamotzi lechem min haaretz. בסוף יברך ברכת המזון. At the end, we should say the ברכת המזון. יש להקדים סעודה זה לפני סוף שעה תשיעית בשעת זמניות מיום. We just said it from the time of the day starts until the סעודה שלישית, 9 hours minimum. We could do before 8 hours. Like this, we could have an introduction to the Pesach. כדי שיכול לאכול המצה בלילה. Let's keep repeating it in order for us to have the matzah to eating at night time with the appetite. ואם נתאחר סעודה שלישית, יכול לעשות אפילו לאחר מכן בלבד לאכול פחות כביצה פת. He says, what if a person does the סעודה שלישית a little bit later? At least he should eat less than which is almost to 50 grams of that matzah that we said. What kind of matzah? Matzah that is cooked or matzah that was dipped in a soup. ואם רוצה לקיים מצווה סעודה שלישית במצה עשירה, יכול לברך. What if a person wants to do matzah, when he wants to eat matzah עשירה, egg matzah, he could able to do על המחיה ועל בורא מיני מזונות ואין על המחיה. מי שאין לו מצה מבושלת או מצה עשירה, what if a person does not have no matzah, no cooked, no matzah that is egg matzah? What he should do? At least he should eat dagim, which it says fish, meat, or fruits, or vegetable, or something to have like this to able to make a mitzvah or the Suda Shlishit. So advice was given. So how are we able to trigger this advice and to come to the reality and actuality? By preparing everything that on Friday. So we need to bring it with us and keep it in a shul, or bring it with us. If there's a iruf, bring it with us to the Bet HaKnesset, and like this you're able to make that mitzvah of the Suda Shlishit. יש להקדים סעודה זה לפני שעת תשיעית היום. יכול את המצה בלילה, אם נאכל סעודה, מצווה להכין תבשיל גם חם לכבוד שבת קודש. So a person says, okay, because the matzah, because it's Shabbat, we already have so many things, right? So he says we're going to fulfill the mitzvah with the cold cuts. No, he says, the halacha says, it's also person have to be careful to keep on Shabbat. The Suda has to be hot, which means that able a person enjoy it. Like all the Shabbatot of the Shana. You should not make any differentiations because it's a Shabbat. You should not have a cold cuts and that's it. He says this cold cuts. Anyway, on a Motzei Shabbat, I'm going to have a Pesach. I'm going to eat all the beautiful delicacies. No, it does not the way it works. Shabbat is the mitzvah. B'fnei atzmo, it's the mitzvah. And Yom Tov, v'samachta b'chagecha samer. The Yom Tov is the mitzvah by itself. So a person should not have disrespected the Shabbat by having less preparation, and the less preparation, then less preparation. For Yom Tov, he has to balance it. Because he says, how much can I eat? Right? A person says all the time, how much can I eat? From Shabbat to Yom Tov, it's too much, I can't. And I'm having a rebuttal question when we're giving envelope 300, 500 in a restaurant for the weddings. How much can we eat? We're sitting over there for 3-4 hours, just sitting and eating and sitting. Everything that comes in, we're just trying how much a person could eat. Over there, it's not so much mitzvah like the mitzvah in a Shabbat and Yom Tov. You understand? But Shabbat motar lechabed ritzpah. Okay. Shabbat, we're allowed to clean the floor and everything like that. But we're not allowed to pray from Shabbat to the Yom Tov, which means washing dishes, washing the pots. We're not allowed to do that. We have to only to do it for that day, which just means if on Shabbat I'm eating, if I need those plates, that's the place I able to clean. En shoftim et hakarka b'mayim b'Shabbat. What about spilling water? So now, because the Pesach is going to be on motzie Shabbat, so he has a floor that is from the granite, okay, or marble. He spills the water and he starts cleaning. He's making thorough cleaning on Shabbat. Not allowed. If there's a water spill, there was a wine spill, something, you could take a towel, you could clean it. Not so. No, just clean it, yeah. Clean it, you're allowed to clean it. But to right now make the whole house cleaning on Shabbat, this is not allowed. This is not considered you respecting the Shabbat. No, this is my way of respecting Shabbat. That's considered not your waiting. That's not considered according to the Chachamim. So this is not allowed to do that. So all of a sudden they start making nikayon, which just means full cleaning. Okay, so be careful. A person should not start washing floors on Shabbat. Even the floors is not observe water. Even it's from the marble, not allowed to do it. What about that a person has a tablecloth? He's allowed to take this tablecloth and the birds will come in and eat it. He's allowed to shake it outside. Bet HaCholim. So right now we're talking about the second section is the Bet HaCholim. So problem we're having a lot of times in the hospital and the nursing homes. Hospital and nursing homes, make sure we allocate that hospitals and the nursing homes for our elder people that make sure that they're going to have a matzah and they're not going to have a chametz. So it's very important that all these people, unfortunately, a lot of people not only forgetting nursing homes and a hospital, they're forgetting even their families and their identity themselves. So we have to always worry about elderly people also. It's not like, I heard one time Shad, the reason we celebrate the Hanukkah, because the Yavani, which means the Greeks, the Sparta, whatever the strongest is the win. Whatever the less strongest, they just throw him in the garbage and he's dead. That's how it got into us. Whoever is the best, we're with him. Whatever is not usable for us, for our benefits, we just leave him and just throw him. And he's worth nothing. So that's why we celebrate. One of the reasons is the Hanukkah, to take the Greek ways out of us. It's all about chasing and winning in a game. So the humanity does not work like this. So that's why we have to also worry about these people that is in the nursing homes and in the hospitals, because hospitals and nursing homes, a lot of them. So we have a beautiful thing. We say, oh, the Chabad would do it, or this ABC would do it. They might do it, but I don't think they will cover everybody. What is the part that you're going to do? That's the question. If everybody would do it, we don't know if they're going to do it or not. It's all assumption. We never went and checked and what's the reality is. It's an assumption. So very important of that. Also, very important to take care of the parents in the house if they're not able to function, which means they're in the wheelchairs. Make sure we're going to make the shopping, everything for them. A lot of times the parents left out. The people are busy with their own families, like we said, and parents are left out, and make sure that we're going to do everything for the parents. Also, this is Kibud Avayim, mitzvah se deoraita. It's a positive mitzvah. B'erev Pesach shchal b'Shabbat botkim et hachametz. We said this before. Asur le'echod kodem b'shar hashanim. We're not allowed to anything to taste, to eat. What kind of taste and eat? The Chazal says tasting and eating bread. Why? I'm going to eat, person going to fall asleep. So that's why fruits, vegetables, rice, it's not problem to eat. Tea, coffee is not problem to drink before the bedikah. So because he's going to a little bit to eat, he's going to have a more concentration by checking the chametz in the bedikah. So but bedikah chametz not necessarily also has to be a bread, the candies, right? It could be alcohol, right? It's a many different stuff. Pizza could be stuffed in the refrigerators and frozen. Okay, people will forget. Some people have 2-3 refrigerators, so they need to get rid of all this chametz out of the house, and they have to look for it. מי שכתב שאין לכתוב בשטר מכירה מאכול לאכול בשבת קודם שעה. הרגל בכל שנה למכר את בעל התשובה מתארך אצל הורים חילונים. So this is happening more often. A person became Baal Tshuva, which just means he became religious, right? he did repentance, right? A lot of people become repentance and they become rebellious against parents, close ones. That's you want to say normal. I'm not so sure normal. Each case, he has to be looked at in a different ways. And I received recently phone call, and they tell me, listen, my brother does not eat in my house because A, B, C, D happened. And he says, so what if it happens like this? Okay, I said, okay, that's for you, so what? For him, it's not so what. He has to follow the law. What do you think? Just because it's so what? Okay, it's you. You keep with your so what. So he's not going to eat in your house. That's the so what. So what are you getting upset that you disrespecting the law and he's observing the law? Why is it considered for you not so what and for him? So a person has to understand these also things. There's many topics when a person becomes Baal Tshuva. So it says a person becomes Baal Tshuva, his parents are not religious at all. What does it mean? So they're giving him a separate room, and he's able to sleep in that separate room during a Pesach. Beitam yesh chamesh, shayach leorim, but they have a chametz inside the house. What are you doing this moment? You have a chametz during the Pesach. What do? He's have a separate room. Nothing is chametz inside. But inside the house, there's a chametz, right? He's allowed to go in this house and to make seder in this table in his night.
In his room or in the house?
In the house with the parents. Okay? What is the point of doing it? The point of doing it, of course, they're not going to put a chametz on top of the table, right? Maybe it's in the kitchen, maybe it's hidden, maybe he's using the plastic plates, okay? They're doing maybe many things. In order for them, for the child would bring the parents to the mitzvot with Torah. That's the point he was doing it. Of course, he's not allowed, because in the Torah it says, Bali Yira'eh, Bali Matzeh, you cannot see, you cannot find. Of course, they're not going to put it on a table, unless they're putting it on a table. Then, again, in each case, we have to see what is he talking about. Over here, we're talking about general. In a house, they have a chametz, and he's allowed to be in that house, and allowed to have a room and separate that room. He does not have that chametz inside the room. But in the house, they do have a chametz. Let's say he says the vodka, right? What is the big deal vodka? He does not know the vodka made out of grain. So he doesn't care. The mind does not hop because it's not educated. So, what happens? He's allowed to be there. Okay? But so Erev Shabbat when comes in, because the Motzei Shabbat, he should sell the chametz of the parents. Is it allowed to sell something that is not his, or he's not allowed to sell something? Usually a person not allowed to sell that's not his. So over here, because he's selling it, he's benefiting them. Because he's benefiting them, he's allowed. So the question is asked, he should tell his parents, listen, I'm selling your chametz, not. So he says, some says yes, some says no. If the parents being liberals, so some say because he's gonna sell without the consent, they would not agree to it. So make sure that you're going to tell them that I'm selling your chametz, and explaining. By selling the chametz, that you did thinking that you're taking out of the whole house and you're just selling it. It's a lot of times it's a barrier language of understanding and explaining. That's why all the problems come in. Because when there's a barrier, lack of understanding and lack of understanding in law, so there could be fall and in many things, and that's how the fights happen most of the times in the families.
Also proper way of speaking.
Right, the attitude is, if you're going to be rebellious and angry, they'll probably be rebellious. That's what the humans are. Because they say that the way who you are telling us, so that's what happens. But if he's going to be chacham, it's hard for the Baal Tshuva. Most of the times they don't know laws, a lot of laws, and they don't have a lot of Torah in their heads. So they're doing most of it. They heard from this Rabbi Machmir, that's it. They heard another Machmir, another. So I had they called me, and he says, Rabbi, can you talk to me? And I told him, what are you doing? So he asked me many different questions. So he says, I heard this Rabbi ABC. He says, if you do tshuva, even if you steal and everything that you do, that's it, you will be forgiven. I said, I'm not so sure what you're saying, but the halacha says that's not what you're saying. And he's quoting me a rabbi's name. I said, it's okay. It's your interpretation, the way that rabbi spoke to you. Masechet Yoma, Choshen Mishpat, says black and white. If Torah says black and white. If a person stole, he did a tshuva, which means he need to return the stolen object, whether the money or anything, then he needs to ask him for forgiveness. Then that's considered doing teshuvah. He says, no, that's not the way I heard from the rabbi. So what is he saying? You saying something else, and I'm saying something else. And I said, that's not the facts. Oh, you come to yeshiva, I show you the facts. What does it says? Okay, so that rabbi and I'm also obligated that law like you obligated to that law. So when I told him this, then he continues saying, so a person could do many bad things and he do tshuva at the end. I said, yes, independent. Huh?
Who said you won't die before the end?
Right. No, but the question is, he's interpreting and he's misleading with the words of what he wants to prove a point. And not only that, he says the answers, it's not the answer. The reason there is no answer because you don't want to answer, you don't want to understand the answer. You want to understand the question the way you're going to answer the question. So that's praying big psychological and a humanity, the way manipulation goes. So a person has to be also careful when it comes to the Baal Tshuva. Baal Tshuva most of the times very confused and very strict. That's why we need to have a rabbi, and a rabbi have to Drisha v'chakira in Shulchan Aruch it's called. Drisha v'chakira, which means he needs to detail he needs to look at the family, he needs to detail all the situation, how is it going. Not just a black and white, yes or no. You see, the halacha says over here that if somebody is a Baal Tshuva, he came home and there's a chametz, all of you would have said, no, asur, asur. And over here it says, you're allowed. So how the population says asur and not allowed? The reason is, so the Torah is not going to be a hate. So if that's the case, so let's speak with the Reform people, right? Let's speak to all the lefties, right? It says over here, they're already the rotten mind. There's nothing you could do about it. You cannot bring them tshuva. Okay? So far, so good? Yes? בערב שבת מותר לגלה כלים כל היום. ערב שבת, make sure we're going to prepare. A lot of times people call on me. ערב שבת, make sure the pots, the oshton, the sichim, that everything that has to be kosher for Passover. So all day we're allowed to do either libun, which means through the fire, or which is the pots and many things, many dishes, okay, that is metal, or agala, lagil kelim, which means through the water. Make sure the water is going to absorb everything. Allowed to do all day on Friday because the Pesach is going to be on motzie Shabbat. ויש מי צריך להגיל קודם שעה שישית, ויש מחמירים שעה חמישית, כמו שאר השנים. נוגע להגיל בערב שבת גם אחר שעה חמישית. It says, if it would have been regular Erev Pesach, we would have already on a 5th and a 6th hour, we're already not allowed to kosher the vessel. But because it became on a Motzei Shabbat, you allowed to do all day to lachshir kelim, which means to make the vessel kosher for Passover if it needs, Friday morning and all day. Usually it will be until from the Alot HaShachar, 5-6 hours, which is until 11:30. Until then you're allowed to eat chametz on a regular day. But because it became on a Motzei Shabbat, then it's no problem to do it all day. That's why I recommend to anybody that have dags, anything that they have, the big pots that they do oshpalo, everything should prepare everything right now, should not wait last minute, because he's going to have it to question in an halachat question. And people call me chol hamoed, they want to invite family. No problem. V'samechta b'chagecha, ach sameach. You need to be happy in a holiday. We dress differently, we speak differently, we carry. Yes, Rav.
If you buy something new to Pesach kelim,
New. Yes, no problem. no problem. Tvilat kelim, which is a person bought the vessels, and he wants to do Tvilat kelim, which means dipping in a mikvah, only 2 vessels he needs to do it. It's a metal and glass. Metal and glass has to be mikvah with the barakah. It has to be, yeah. Metal and glass. Let's say I bought a glass cups, glass plates. I'm gonna need. Ceramic. Ceramic. It's because it made from the clay, and he made from the clay, and it was covered with the glass. Then you make it without the barakah, the ceramic. Without the barakah. So the Chachamim said, right? The Chachamim said, if it's a glass polished with the glass from inside and outside, then you make a barakah. Okay, but the best way to take something metal or glass and to have deep that in mikvah also, and like this, you could have the mind for that dish that you had from the clay dish, and like this, you make a bracha on it. Baruch atah Hashem asher kadoshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al tvilat keli, which is singular, kelim, which means plural. Right.
Saying you take 20 porcelain plates.
Yeah,
one glass.
Yeah. Or knife, whatever it is.
Not to do baracha lo.
Right, not a barakah, you're just doing a blessing on that too. They asked me a question I've said it many times, ana should not say this, it doesn't sound nice when a person listening to shiur. So we have because you caught me off guard, I wanted to go according to, and you asked me a question. So the wood is also not, doesn't have to be in a mikvah, and plastic and wood does not have to be in a mikvah. If it comes to the metal, then you have to make it, right? Then you have to make it. Right, they don't have to, right, cutting board. יש נוהגים מאפות מצה בערב שבת דווקא לאחר חצות יום, בכל שנים. אבל בעיקר הדין שישו מצה בערב שבת גם קודם חצות היום. So we have like this type of custom, and we've been doing it for many years, because we bake matzah erev Pesach, which means that a person goes to the bakery, because we don't have a bakery, we go to the Brooklyn, we buy that the matzah was baked after the chatzot, after the midday, and that matzah we're able to likayem mitzvah for eating on Leila Seder. What is the reasoning? The reason is why? Is because it says that you should not have, when you do Korban Pesach, you should not have chametz in your possession. So when you bake a matzah, you should have. So we bought it before, 2-3 weeks before, a month before. So we still had a chametz in our possession. So that, in order for us to make mitzvah, that is important for us. Chaviva mitzvah. So what we do, whoever was Bukhari in protection, whoever works in a matzah factory, you're able to get those coupons. You pay in advance. It's cost $7, $8 on 3-4 matzot, and the family members able to eat from that matzah to make that mitzvah. It's a halachically speaking, a lot of in the religious sectors, a lot of doing it, and not even so religious. I had people that when we said this halacha, and they do this every year, and they love it. So we go and we buy it. So do we buy for myself, being selfish, or I buy for my whole entire family? So I personally try to buy for my entire family, not for myself. But usually we ask the question over for ourselves, because we say it's so expensive. How can we afford those things? That's
How do people afford things they want?
right. No, just no. They say for the mitzvah, these type of mitzvot. So you go, you call whoever knows works in a Pesach, in a matzah factory, and after the chatzot, after the midday, that Friday they work. Yeah, right. Before we need to come. No, nobody. It needs to. They only give like 100 or 1,000, and that's it. Like those cards, we need to prepare before, and I'm not promoting because that's not my matzah factor. I'm just saying the way it works. So if a person comes in and he says, give it to me, he's not going to give it because everything has to be online, which just means before paid, not online through the online internet. He needs to pay it, and when he comes in, they're going to tell him come 1 o'clock and your matzah will be ready. And like this, how do you know? Maybe we have the mind. Maybe they tell me matzah was from 3 days ago. How do I know the matzah made it that day? Right? That mind also. Or they gave us matzah, they just gave and that's it. It's everything business, right? We say? No. So that's why they have team that specially comes in and do these type of matzot in that day after the chatzot. It's a big team, 20, 30, 50 people doing at the same time that type of matzah. Right. You could, but you have to know so particulars in halachot. A person could make in chametz. It's like shchita. Do you know how to do shchita? No. Did you learn the laws of shchita? No. So how would you able to do the matzah? Just bake it? Like it has to be a procedure. Why what kind of the oven? What's the temperature of the oven? You understand? There's many details. If it does something wrong, it could be chametz, and chas v'shalom, it's a karet. So why not give to somebody professional, paying, right? If something we don't know what we do, we pay. So if I don't know how to do it myself, even though I could learn it, right, and do it ourselves, yes, no problem. As long as we have somebody that teaching us, and that's the way we want to do it. At the end of the day, you would have said, let me just buy it and that's it, and just have it, or right. So very important. This type of matzah is to have, and it's not a chayav, it's not a must, but that's the way we want to, particular for every mitzvah that we want to do, chaviv et mitzvah. Chaviv, which just means we want to make sure that the mitzvah is important. It's important to us that we connect into the mitzvah. The mitzvah is something that is not connected. It's just we're just doing it. Mitzvah anashim milumodam. We're just doing it, chas v'shalom, like got used to it, and that's it. So שיחלל בוודאי שוגג, יש אומרים. הוא הסטוניס אם יאכל ביום לא יאכל לאכול בליל שבת תבון. משום כך נוהגים לתנות בערב שבת, יתנה ביום שישי גם בשביל תענית בכורות. ואין צריך לתנות גם ביום. So a person says, so we're talking about Bechor now, we're going to skip this part because אין לטלטל מצה בשבת בערב פסח משום מוקצה, הואיל והוא אסור באכילה מדרי סוברים בערב פסח עד הלילה. So it says once the matzah from the morning, on Saturday morning, we're not allowed to carry matzah from one place to another. That matzah becomes muktzah. Very important halacha again. Matzah on Saturday, because the Pesach is going to be in Motzei Shabbat, we're not allowed to carry matzah from one side to another. The matzah becomes muktzah. So that not allowed. Muktzah, which just means literally saying in English, object set aside. That's called muktzah. Until Motzei Shabbat. Until Motzei Shabbat. Motzei Shabbat already no problem because you could move it, no problem. So if a person could put something on top of the box of the matzah, he could put apple, he could put romaine lettuce, he could put many edible food, and like this he able to move that matzah from one place to another. So what's the point of moving the matzah? Maybe he needs the space. Maybe they miscalculate where they're going to sit. So this all has to play in a role, and a person should know what is it doing. שאדם מקפיד שלו לתת ממנו לתינוק מפני פסח. המצה רגילה מוטל לו אכילה בערב פסח לילדים קטנים מבינים בסיפור מציאת מצרים מוטל בטלטול. What about, he says, little kids that they don't have no idea about Pesach, they have no idea, they're still not in the mind of the Pesach, they're allowed to eat the matzah on even Saturday morning or Saturday all day for the kids, which is 1 year old, 2 years old. They're still, huh?
Sorry, you mean Friday.
No, Saturday for the kids. For them it's not considered muktzah because they're able to eat. וכן מותר לקחת אותם לחם משנה, וכן יש כמות גדולה של מצות שמורות, שאינו מקפיד עליהם, שלא יתאים לתינוק או לעופות, מותר לטלטל בשבת. But he says he doesn't care about this matzah, which is means not about he does not care. He says that if he's feeding animals and with this matzah and everything, that means he does not so strict about, just to have a specific that matzah only for seder. Then he's allowed to carry it or to give to the kids no problem, this matzah of the Shmura. מצווה שמורה מיד ליל סדר, נמצא בתי הקפה, רוצה להוציא ביום שבת אחר צהריים, כדי שיפשירו עד הערב. יש כדור להקל על שייתן מצה חתיכה חזרת, דומה. So it says a person wants to take the matzah, and he wants to take out from the frozen, okay, it could be frozen. He wants to take it out, and he says make sure he's going to put something edible on top of the box of this matzah, so you're able to move. So on the Motzei Shabbat, the matzah is going to be for him to prepare to ready. And this consider you preparing from Shabbat to Yom Tov. You're not allowed to prepare from Shabbat to Yom Tov. This not considered because you already have a ready product. So again, we're not allowed to prepare from Shabbat to Yom Tov, very important in halacha, because many times, because we're under pressure, when a person is under pressure, he makes a lot of mistakes. And he's not thinking about, it's not a rational thinking, it's about having how things done without thinking. So Motzei Shabbat, because it's going to be Pesach, we're not allowed to prepare from Shabbat to the Motzei Shabbat, the table. Prepare, which just means clean up the table. Set up not allowed, because we're preparing from Shabbat to Yom Tov. Right. We're allowed to have Suda Shlishit, but not allowed to clean after the Suda Shlishit. Right.
You can eat bread until before Pesach.
No. Friday, only Saturday morning, if he lives by himself. We already gave this advice. Only Saturday morning until like 10:30 or 11:30. So very important not to have like he said, to preparation from Shabbat to the Pesach, because they're going to be they're going to be under pressure, and the husband is going to come to Bet HaKnesset. So like this, they're able to prepare, not allowed to prepare. So if we come home, we prepare. If we come a little bit later, so they're able to prepare. Nothing. It takes to prepare a table, literally, properly. I've seen people do fast job, mistakenly. It would take me maybe 3 to 5 minutes, the whole setup, by myself, so-called, right? 3 to 5 minutes. Yeah. So it does not take them, including salads and everything like that. Just put everything on a table. But if it's a teamwork, even faster and quicker. You understand? But I've seen sometimes the teamwork also, people just lacking on how to work fast, which just means they do fast, but they do throw everything. But fast also something that's presentable, not only fast just doing it. So that's
packing salads and not nothing, right?
Nothing. It's called preparation from Shabbat to Yom Tov. Okay, that's why we prepare everything before, and everything's supposed to be already ready. All you have to do is warm it up. She cannot be in the kitchen cooking Motzei Yom Tov, which is Motzei Shabbat, and you're allowed to cook on Yom Tov. She needs to listen to Agadah from beginning until the end. If she's not listening, she's missing, she's not fulfilling the mitzvah. So everything, make sure it's going to be prepared before. And you warm it up. Afterwards, you warm it up. Nothing happens.
For 3 days, basically.
Yeah, it depends how fast you are and who you are and what you are. It depends all on that. So I give many advices on this. Like, we prepared for that day. The next day is going to be Yom Tov. So you're allowed to cook for that Yom Tov. For next day Yom Tov, you're not allowed to cook. So why? For 3 days. You have a Shabbat for 2 days, and that's it.
Can we prepare on Friday before Shabbat?
Yeah, of course.
Not Yom Tov?
Yes, of course. What do you think most of these restaurants that they do catering in different Bet Knesset, you just bring in everything warm. A lot of people just don't pay attention. Unfortunately, I have to pay attention on myself. That's considered istanis, which is I'm particular in everything that I see. Okay, so because of that, what do you think these people just bringing you fresh of the kitchen? Everything is, most of the products and most of it just comes in when it warms, and they prepare everything. Same thing we're allowed to do from Friday, no problem. That's the best recommendation, to prepare from Friday. And when a Motzei Shabbat comes in, whether the salads, everything, it's already everything prepared. All you have to do is warm it up, and you're not going to have a pressure. That's the most important thing. Which just means you should be happy in a holiday. But
we should done everything till 12 this time?
No. On Shabbat you could do like...
No, I mean Pesach
No.
When we started, and we actually should.
Oh, around 1 o'clock. You're gonna have plenty of time. How much is Haggadah would take you? Another half hour? It's not that long. It's not that long.
It takes 45 minutes.
Okay. Listen, if you come home around 8:30, you finish by 9:15, you have another 3 hours, 4 hours. So you do have enough time, 1 o'clock, because the days are longer, the nights are shorter, so you would have a lot of time in your hand. Yes?
There is a mitzvah Suda in the daytime of Pesach.
Also, correct. מצווה שומרת, אוקיי, like we said, חמץ ביום טוב, אחר זמן איסור מוקצה, נחשב כמו עץ. אין לסדר שולחן, like we said, each person should not prepare from the שאין בין מכין ליום טוב. ואם יש תור גדול להכין שולחן, כלים קודם צאת כוחים, כגון שמקום רחב ידיים, בני בית מרובים, יכולים בין השמשות מוצא שבת. So the way he's able to prepare the table on a Motzei Shabbat, it has to be twilight zone. Twilight zone, which just means it's night, it's not day. So for example, today is a twilight zone. I'm going to look at it right now. The twilight zone, Shkia 7:13. So on Pesach is going to be probably around 7:30, right? The time is going more up and up. So 7:30, between 7:30, he's already start preparing for if he has a big family and he invited his close ones, his relatives, his neighbors, his uncle from Arizona, his grandmother from Miami. So he brings everybody. And like this, 7:30, 30 minutes, within that 30 minutes, he's allowed if he has a big family. Then this is allowed because it's Safek Laila, Safek Yom. It's not day, it's not night. Again, a big family members. He has a big family members. Then Ben Hashmashot, if he needed, we davening over here Aravit, correct? But they're over there already preparing. So like I said, probably 7:30 is going to be 7:30. I'm giving you approximately. We still have to check the calendar, and like this, we're able to know when is a Ben Hashmashot and prepare if we have a big family members. Because this is going to be a lot of mitzvot, 15. Kadesh, Karpatz, Urchatz, Yachatz, Git, Motzie, Matzah. So all the mitzvot, total 15. So 15.
There's 15 mitzvot.
Right. Kadesh, Urchatz, Karpatz, Yachatz, everything mitzvot. So the Satan is going to be very strong to have angry. Okay? Usually person does not get angry in that day. So he does not want to do mitzvot with the happiness. The mitzvot, chas v'shalom, a lot of times for a person becomes Yom Tov, burden. He says, I can't do without the kids, without the friends, and he sits like a king, and she's like a servant, and she serves. Who is the slave of the Egypt? She became the slave of Egypt, and he became, chas v'shalom, the paro. Why? Because he's making her do everything, and she have no menucha. Menucha, which just means no rest. So we have to also consider that. No, what you're talking about, you're being biased, you're taking the wife's side, the husband. I'm not taking nobody's side. It has to be partnership. Partnership, both of them need to work and figure out if this is properly to bring the people to the house, and he's going to be sitting like a king and she's going to be like a servant. And b'derech, in a general, when a woman when we invite guests, the woman becomes very, very nervous on things happening. Very rarely, no, Rabbi, I'm different. Yeah, we're going to see that you fighting with your husband, that means it's no difference. We're going to continue Be'ezrat Hashem at the halachot of the Pesach, שיהיה רצון שהקדוש ברוך הוא תן לנו ברכה, הצלחה, בריאות, ערבי נחת, חג פסח כשר ושמח, וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן.